Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Alrighty. We have lots of fun planned for today. Thanks for getting those Chapter 1 quizzes in. I'll be working on getting those graded for you guys. I got a couple more Project Zeros as well. You guys are doing great on that. I think my internet's behaving much better today. It was a terrible day on Thursday. Comcast had an outage and it was laggy and then it didn't work and then I had to spend time on the phone with them. But they gave me a $15 credit. So like I should be happy? Or something? I don't know. That's tricky. Alright. Hydration, yes. I got my coffee, which is almost gone. I just poured this cup of coffee. I'm gonna have to go downstairs and get some more in a little bit. That's sad when it runs out. So we pushed back Project 1, and we're going to talk about that today. We didn't get a chance to get through everything last Wednesday, and that's okay. We don't necessarily need to rush super fast through that. So I'll adjust the schedule on this in just a little bit. I don't know if I need to post a new copy. We'll just make sure that one's up and ready. And we'll continue on in Chapter 2, Java Fundamentals. Hopefully you guys are enjoying reading the textbook. Everyone should be nodding, right? They're reading the textbook. This is a good source of information for them. Right? Don't just rely on the things I say. Right? We have a textbook for a reason. That's your good reference source. It's going to show you all the things you need to do. Right, so we'll finish up Chapter 2 this week before moving on. And then from there on out, aside from Chapter 4, we'll do about a chapter a week. So Chapter 4 we break up because he puts 2 topics into one chapter, and I don't... Okay, I mean, I didn't write the book, so I guess I can't criticize it. But we'll take one topic at a time, and we'll keep working through those as well. But we are cruising along. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope your other classes are going all right. And let's see where we left off. Let's see if we can close this one down. Let's open up that other project. Or maybe I could start up a new project. Let's see where we left off. No, not in downloads. Documents, GitHub, 1500, winter. Can find you, right? And we're doing Chapter 2, Part 1. Okay, so maybe we'll start up another one. So a quick recap. It's always good to review some of this stuff, right? Print versus println or print line. Right? Print line will give you this new line character by default. So we don't have to add it in ourselves. If you want to, great. And there's a couple other cool ones like tab, and you can add in quotes and some other things you can do inside of these strings. Remember, strings are just a bunch of text. Okay? When we create variables, we get to pick the name for them, like my first name. And there's lots of rules. Typically, we'll use letters, numbers, underscore. I don't know why people use the $sign, but you can if you want. But usually we start with a letter, and it's lowercase for the first word, and every next word is uppercased. So this is declaring the variable. We're telling Java, hey, go out and get me some space to store this thing. Remember we talked about how things are stored in memory, at various memory addresses, all in that hexadecimal format, which you'll never need again for this. And then we can assign values to the variable. Like my first name equals, or it's not really an equal sign here. This is the assignment operator. We're saying take the thing here on the right, assign it to the thing here on the left. Okay, or you could do it all in one line. I prefer all on one line, but there's nothing wrong with doing it either way. Okay, a couple other types. This int is short for integer. Right? Integers are whole numbers, positive or negative, up to about 2 billion, 2.1 billion or so. If you need larger numbers, Java has them, it's okay, but most of what we're going to do is probably 2 billion or less for integers. If you need numbers with decimal places, we're going to use doubles most of the time, because I much prefer doubles because they're easier. Again, I'm all about being easy. So if a number has a decimal place, make sure you're using a double. If you want that other type, right, we did have that other type called a float. It's a smaller number. So this is a smaller number with decimal. And the reason I don't like floats, because I can't say equals 1.23. It gives me a red line. Red lines are sad, right? It says, oh, doesn't like it here. Possible lossy conversion from double to float. So if we just put a number with a decimal place in our code, Java thinks it's a double. if we want it to be a float, we have to add an F. And this is why I hate them, for no other reason than that. Because why would you have to add an F? But, I mean, I guess you need some way to distinguish. Yeah, F's in the chat. Some way to distinguish which one is a float and which one is a double. So I'm all about not doing the extra work. And, okay, at the scale that we are doing things here in 1500, we don't care if we're taking up more memory with a double. If you're doing things at even the thousands, we probably don't care, but like at the millions or billions scale, yes, saving space in memory, this is much more efficient. You can learn all about being more efficient when you take the data structures course. Right? We talk all about efficiency in data structures. Because then it becomes even more important, right? Once you're scaling or doing things the proper way. So for our purposes, there's no need to optimize. We don't care. I'll leave it there. So floats need the little F, or big F, need F to tell Java it's a float. Yeah, it's half the size. So doubles are double the size of a float in terms of the amount of precision that they can store. I think it's like to 15 decimal places, and this one only stores 7. Or honestly, it's not worth remembering. Just go. You can look it up. Right? We can just go Google Java float versus double. Look at that. It's a bunch of suggested searches. I love it. Float versus double. And what do we get? What's our first hit? 8 bytes to store a variable, while float takes 4 bytes. Look at that. Amazing. So that's the range of doubles. Okay, sure. Java point edubcba Stack Overflow. I'm sure we could get specific, or we could look in the book too, right? Yeah. Okay. This is some big number stuff. I don't even know what that is. E to the 38th. Okay, they're big. Big numbers. That's what we need to be concerned about. All right, so we got different types there, right, that we can work with. So floats, you got to put the F in there. Some other annoying things, just because one, if we wanted to have a double like salary, or I don't know, pay rate, right? Pay rate equals, and we'll say, hey, if you make, what is it? Really should know this, and I'm feeling bad now. Minimum wage in Michigan. Because this changed in Michigan, right? We're higher than the federal minimum wage, I want to say, which was some sort of weird legislative process. There we go. $9.65 per hour. Because if the legislature changed it after the ballot initiative, they wouldn't have to do the other. I forget what all happened. It was a bunch of crap. Like I just get upset about stuff. So, but $9.65. So let's put that in. So let's say $9.65 semicolon, because that's a statement, and Java's mad at us. Cannot find symbol variable $9. Remember that dollar sign can't be in there? No dollar signs. Right? Because $9 it thought was a variable name, because dollars are allowed in your variable names. Okay? So make sure you don't put those in. What you can do though, so this is, let's just do a round integer here, right? This is the Mega Millions jackpot. And that was a big number, right? Which actually was won not by the Kroger nearest to me, but the Kroger down the street, the better Kroger in Novi, not too far from my place. Someone bought the winning ticket there. And what did they say the winning prize was? Just about $1 billion or something? I don't know. Mega Millions winner. Winner, Michigan. Let's see. I'm sure we can find it here, right? It's all over the news, right? Because people are obsessed with telling you that someone eventually wins the lottery, and it's not a big scam, except it is a big scam. Yeah. People only win money because the states are keeping more of it, right? Anyway. Okay, just 1 billion, sure. We'll just go with around billion. Okay, 1 billion. So that's 1, that's 1,000, that's 1,000,000, that's 1 billion. And if you're like me, that's really hard to look at. because those zero groupings are weird. One cool thing you can do. Oh yeah, yep. Well, so not on all of it, right? Not on all of it, Dusty, because you are only taxed, federal income tax rates, on the money that you earn above a percentage as it goes up. So you don't pay 40% on all of it. Although at that point you're pretty close. You're pretty close. And the actual payout was only like 700 million. I mean, only. But so you only pay 37% of your income that you make over 500,000. Yeah, Bing gives me rewards because Microsoft has to pay people to use their stuff. And if I search enough, if I Bing enough, I get free Starbucks coffee. So and I mean, Google already has so much of my information. I understand Microsoft spies on me. At least I'm getting something out of it. I mean, Google spies on my Gmail account, but I'm getting the Gmail service out of it rather than just search. So anyway, so you're only paying 37% tax on money above $500,000. So I think you got that wrong, Dusty. Google is don't be evil. They're not evil. Oh, I forgot to get the chat thing set up so people could see. There's a way I can like highlight chat messages, and I just didn't get around to doing that. So you might also notice too, some of these numbers here are like double here, right? So 80 and 40 is doubled. 185 and 171 doubled here. 163 and 326, I'm going to call that doubled, but yeah, that looks like it's doubled. 207 and 414 doubled, but here is not doubled. So if you are married and paying taxes and both of you have income, you hit the 37% bracket faster in our tax system than you would if you were single. That's the marriage penalty there, by the way. Our tax system is full of all these wonderful gotchas. Anyway, the useful Java thing, what we were talking about, we'll get to taxes later, don't worry. I have a project for that, because it's fun. What we can do in Java is you can use an underscore in numbers, and the underscore is ignored. I mean, the difference there in taxes was actually pretty minimal, right? Because the tax rate, 35 to 37, only 2% more. It's not huge. And the marriage penalty actually used to be worse, so it did shift a couple higher brackets. Used to get penalized a little sooner than that, but sure. So this underscore is allowed. So I'm going to put a little note here. Underscore. That is the shift dash, right? Is allowed in number literals, right? Literals are numbers that you literally type into your code, or hard-coded values, right? Hard-coded, we say it's actually in the code. I don't know who came up with that term, but I like it. So underscores are great. I'm a big fan of using underscores to show the number grouping. Now the problem is you can put as many in as you want because Java ignores them. So again, just don't be dumb with them, right? Because the code that we write is for people. I promise you, code is for people. I mean, we have to follow certain rules to make sure the computer can understand it. But the reason we use variable names is for people, right? So that I can see what it is. I can read it. I can understand it. I can follow. This is what it's supposed to do. Oh, and someone had asked me a question here. I forgot about getting your names to pop up here. Getting names to pop up. So if you're like typing along and you don't get this type ahead here, there's a setting you can change. So notice I typed small and it's showing me, hey, did you mean smaller number with decimal? And my variable name is so long it doesn't even fit, ... Right? There's an option you can change. So if you go to Tools and Options, I believe it's under Java, nope, Editor, Code Completion. There we go. So under Editor, Code Completion. Is that it? I think. Oh dear. I said it last semester, and I remembered where it was then. Maybe this isn't it. Is it in Java? I don't think it was in Java. No, we didn't want any of these. Actions. I think it was in the editor. Hints? No? Formatting? No, there was a place for it. And now I'm losing my mind here. Let's just Google that. So Netbeans, Java, variable autocomplete. See if we get a hit. First link. I didn't even read it. We'll just click the first link. It's like that I'm feeling lucky search. Do they still have that in Google? I feel like I should know that. Tools, editor, code completion. No. Ah, there. This is what we're looking for. Auto pop-up on typing any Java identifier part. Tools, options, editor, code completion. I thought it was there. Tools, options, editor, code completion. Oh, that's what you have to do. Under languages, change the languages drop down to Java. Then you want to make sure your auto pop-up on typing any Java identifier part. This check mark here. That should do it for you. So if it's still not working, let me know. I can pop on and we can do a little screen share and see what's going on. But that ought to do it for you. Okay, make sure you're auto pop-up typing any Java part. Hey, because the code here is for people. We want to write nice, meaningful, and Mr. Gaddis even agrees with me, self-documenting code. Right? What I don't want you to do is come in here and this variable is for storing your pay rate and then call your variable PR. If you have to leave a note to tell you what the variable's doing, you're doing it wrong. I promise. Now, some of my colleagues will disagree with me, and that's okay. So if you get to another programming class and they say, put comments in, unfortunately, you have to do the thing that the person's grading you is telling you to do. And when it comes to the workplace, when you go get a job and you're an amazing developer and you're writing awesome code that's fixing problems in the world, your organization will probably have some standards. And they'll say, you should do these things. And we'll say, okay, I'll follow the standards here. Not a big deal, right? It's not hard. It's not a fight. You don't need to say, well, Professor Chernesky said I have to do this. No. Right? I'm telling you what I expect here. When you move on to other places, do what they expect. It's no big deal. My typical rule of thumb for that is if they're writing your paycheck, you probably want to follow those standards. Okay? And that's in terms of like standards and following conventions and things. It's not saying do anything they tell you to do no matter what. Don't be Uber. Okay, don't write terrible illegal code that gets abused. Uber's trash. Please don't go work there. A horrible organization. But that's another story. Okay, so don't do this. Okay, for me, use a nice, meaningful name. Pay rate, sure. Okay, so we can do that sort of stuff. We okay so far? So variable names. The underscores are super helpful here. Don't have any three-letter agencies showing up at my door. Yeah, we actually made the news, my hometown, because someone just down the street from me got picked up by the FBI for his actions on January 6th. So that was fun. They had the whole road blocked off and everything. And our chief of police, or a public safety director, was also the chief of police or something. It was really nice. He's on Facebook, but he's like, oh, sorry, we had to have the road blocked off. It wasn't for us. It was for a federal agency. We're not telling you why. And then someone quickly found the actual news article that said the FBI picked people up for something, or picked this guy up for something. I mean, they say no publicity is bad publicity, but I feel like that doesn't make the city look good. But what do I know? What do I know? All right. Back to what we were doing. Okay. You can use that E notation if you like that. We can put that in. Scientific notation, go for it. I don't care. We did booleans. We did characters. So characters get these apostrophes or single quotes for one letter or character at a time, which is awesome. All right, this is where we left off. So the fun stuff about characters. Too many windows open. FBI has entered the chat. No, it was not me. I was not that crazy person. So the people left location information on their phones. Like, how dumb are you? Like, your phone literally says, hey, I was in the Capitol building, because it has your location information enabled. And these are also the people that tell us we're going to get microchipped with these vaccines and stuff. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, this thing, literally Google, because it's an Android phone, sends me every month the Google Maps history of all the places I've been. Yeah, I'm posting it on social media. Because someone had convinced them they were doing the right thing. Anyway, we're a little off track. We are a little bit off track. That's my fault. That's my fault. I get off track easy. Yes, one of my favorite profs, who's a mentor of mine when I started teaching over at Dearborn. He was a really nice guy. He's been teaching computer science for years and years and years, and I found out he actually had a applied mathematics PhD, because he had gotten his PhD before doctorates in computer science was really a thing and really popular at all. But he's a real nice guy, but we'd hang out in his office and chat, whatever, and when it was time for him to go teach, he'd say, oh, sorry, I gotta get going, Eric. It's time to go vanquish ignorance. And I thought that was the coolest phrase. But every time I say it, it just doesn't come off the same as it did for this guy. But I'm not as smart as he is, so I don't know. It seemed more meaningful when he said it, because this guy was just brilliant. All right. Okay, so characters. Behind the scenes, characters are actually really cool in that we have this crazy standard called Unicode. And what Unicode is, where did it go? No, I'm in the wrong window, friends. Wrong window. Yes, there we go. So Unicode is a different flavors of it too, which is the fun part as well. But essentially each character has a numeric value. And most of the time what we do is we say, we're just going to use this ASCII table. Here, we're going to go look up what characters have what values. Okay? And the reason is that, remember, computers have to store everything in bytes. So somehow we need something to represent different letters. So eventually you get the letter capital A at value 65. So everything before 65 is these other special characters, numbers, symbols, whatever, and then some really special things that we don't really use quite as much anymore. Okay? So the number 65 in Unicode represents the letter A. So, and this it's called ASCII, what I looked up, because there are different flavors of Unicode as we've expanded our character sets. So this is the typical lookup one here, where a single character takes up 2 bytes. And remember, when we looked at bytes, we could look at our calculator here. When you go to the programmer calculator, and we put in this bit operation, remember, a byte is 8 bits. Total fun fact here. So if we used one set of 8 bits and another set of 8 bits, right, and we turned them all on, we're going to see the maximum value. Boop, 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 boop. So by turning all those on, we can have 65,535 different characters represented with 2 bytes of information. And that's what we do. So behind the scenes, when you ask for a character, it's actually storing a numeric value. Okay, so E here should be the number, capital E, 69. And then an R should be an 82. So let's see if I can do that. Let's see. Char, next letter, I don't know what, R letter equals, can I do, what did I say? I already forgot the number. R, 82. Let's try, equals 82. Notice Java's okay with that, which seems really weird, because you'd think this is an integer value. It should store in an int, but we're saying, hey, this is a type of character. So this is where it gets weird, right? I can do that. I can have char and then an I letter equals, let's take a look at I. So an I is 73, 73, and then a C letter, that's going to be 67, 65 is A, 66, yeah, I think it's 67. Let's double check. I was trying to do it off the top of my head, but yep, 67. And then what I can do is I can print. So let's print now, and I want to append all of these things together. Plus, right? So we're not adding. What I'm doing is I want to concatenate them together. Right? I don't want the arithmetic here. Let's see what we get. Let's give this a run. Uh-oh. 291. It added them together. Right? Because we already had Happy Wednesday, said Eric. Oh, I forgot. It's Monday, but that's okay. We can pretend. So if I have a string, and then I concatenate this. Let's try that. Because now it's going to see a string plus a letter, and I should get a string back out. There we go. So, but before, when you just had the characters, it was more than happy to do the arithmetic, because it was trying to be helpful. So if I say, hey, here's a string, or I don't know, hi there, Eric. If I have a string first, it does order of operations left. Yeah, I could do a print for each one. Yeah, we could do that too. So just do print single letter. This seems like a lot more work though, because then I have a lot more of those R letters. You know, sure, I can just copy it a couple times, have an I letter and a C letter. Is that really how you spell letter now? It looks wrong after seeing it so many different times. Print, 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 print. Oops, I forgot to eventually then. You could put in the new line, or you could just print line nothing. I'm a fan of print line nothing, because then I don't have to remember \n. So if I just print line with nothing, it will just go down the line for me. There we go. So sure. So be careful when concatenating characters. Need a string to start. Okay, just a note, just be careful. But what's cool is that they're stored in the Unicode value. That's just kind of neat, right? So eventually we store it as a numeric, and then Java is just doing that translation for us. Because I told it it's a type of character, it will say, oh, sure, you want the letter value here, unless I'm trying to add them together. It says, oh, it's a number, add them together. So it gets a little confusing, right? So just be careful. It tries to do what it thinks is best. And it's not always what you want or what you intended. So just be careful there with numbers. So Unicode is cool. Stored in binary. Ooh, what the... That is weird. I was trying to follow along in the textbook, and it got all scribbly to make sure I hit all the stuff in the slides. Let me just hit refresh there. I should have showed you guys. That was actually really neat. Yep, it's doing it again. Look at this. Wow. That's really cool. We broke it. I think we broke it. Let me hit download here. That'll make things better. Okay. The Mickey. Yeah, I think that's not right. I think you are correct. Turns out if I open it with PowerPoint, instead of letting Desire to Learn to do its cool little formatting stuff, it actually works. So D2L tries to be helpful. It tries to be helpful. It tries. Okay. So this now doesn't give me a tab. I'd like that I had tabs. Okay. I don't know. I want to watch chat as well as see the PowerPoint slides, because occasionally I get off topic. And that is the one nice thing about PowerPoint, is like you kind of stay on topic because you got all the slides up there on the screen. But I just hate reading to people, because as soon as I put a slide up on the screen, if it has text, people are reading it, then they stop listening. And then when they're done reading it, if you're still reading it, they read it faster in their head than I could say it out loud, and then they're bored. And then they start thinking about other things. So there's actually, what was the article? It's really neat. So it turns out everybody has this little like timer in their head now, and we've made it worse with technology in that if you click on something and you're waiting for it to load, whatever it happens to be, there's a certain amount of time until you're bored of waiting and you're going to go check Facebook and see what's new. Someone called it the Facebook timeout or something like that. It had a really catchy term. I forget. But every time I try and Google it now, it doesn't come up because other thing, whatever. Facebook's popular. It's a rough term. But people don't like to wait for things. We're rather impatient nowadays. So our Facebook timeout, or how long it takes for us to get bored and give up and go find something else, it's not super long. We get bored really fast. So that's okay. Okay. So some variables. So again, this is declaring the variable and assigning it. This is the assignment operator. We're assigning it a value. Okay, so it's got to match. It has to fit. And again, integers are also characters because that's how they're stored behind the scenes. So characters, oops, 2 slashes here, 2 slashes there, characters stored in Unicode values. Numeric 1 to 65, 365, or something like that. I forget whatever the number was, 65K, 1000-ish. Okay, so we can either use the character in single quotes. What you can't do is do double quotes, E. Java will yell at you and say, oh, incompatible types. String cannot be converted to character. Right, so make sure you're using single quotes or apostrophes. I don't know why they're called single quotes. Okay, otherwise it's not going to fit. So we get all these red line errors, which are nice. These little ones are just helpful. They're saying, hey, the variable is never used. That you made this variable, you're storing it, but you're not doing anything with it. And that's okay. That's just a warning to us. We're doing something wrong. You might see some people, and I'm not a fan of this. Let's come on down here, I guess. They might say, hey, I want an int for, first number, comma, second number. This is legal Java code. They're declaring multiple things that are all integers. Some people love this. I'm not a fan. And they might even have like third number. Right? So you can declare multiple things of a given type on a single line if you want. Honestly, I think it's easier to just do everything on its own line. But, again, because the code's for people. Right? We don't really care. Where's my format? There we go. There's a formatter. I don't know. I just like everything on its own line. Probably for no good reasons. It's what I'm used to. So you can, I'll put a note. You can declare multiple values of a single type on one line. We'll have int, number 1, number 2, number 3. Like that, or first number, second number, third number. Either way. Okay? What I can't do is now come back here and say, int, I want another first number. Java's going to yell at me and say, it's already defined. Once you've said, hey, I need an integer for first number, you can't say I need another integer for first number. You could change the value. Maybe we could say first number equals 42. And then we could change the value again. First number equals 27. And we could change the value again. First number is, 18. Why not? We could change the value as many times as we want. So we can assign a valve. Remember, each variable can only hold one value at a time. So as soon as I change it, the other value is gone. We lost it. So just be careful there. Okay, we can use those. It is nice here if we try and do something with like second number. Java's going to yell at us and say, hey, it might not have been initialized. Initialized is our fancy term for giving it a value, an initial value. That's the technical term, is initializing. So you can't value before assigning it. A variable, sorry. Can't use a variable before assigning it a value, which is initializing. That's our technical term. So I'm going to comment that out because it fails. Okay. All right, now back to math class. Right, we've got some numbers. Let me actually change those here. We'll do second number, third number. Why not? Now, you guys are familiar with addition and subtraction. You know multiplication, you know division, right? So let's see what first number divided by third number is. What's 42 divided by 18? I don't know. Let's check. 42 divided by 18. 2. Notice I'm in the programmer calculator. Let's go back to a regular calculator. 42 divided by 18. 2.33333333333333333333. Right? When we run this, 2. What happened to the point 33333333333333333? This is integer division. Always gives integer results. Remember how integers are whole numbers? They can't hold decimal places. So if you take one integer and divide it by another integer, you get an integer back out. Sacrifice, the biggie. Sacrifice to the gods. Yeah, that decimal remainder is just truncated. You lose it. So it's, if you want to say rounded down, yeah, you just, any decimal portion is just gone. Cuts it off. So even like 2.999999999 will still be 2. So be careful there. If you want to get a decimal result, we have to do a couple crazy things. We have a couple options. A couple options. First, if we want this, and I'm going to say this is integer division plus that. And that is what? So 42 divided by 18. Okay. If we don't want it to be an integer, we have to tell Java, hey, I want this thing as a double. Treat this thing as a double because it has a decimal place, then divide it by another. So if either one of your operands, the thing being operated on, is a double, you'll get a double back out. Now we have double division. And I'm going to put that in quotes. Double 42 plus this thing. That'll probably work. Give that a shot. Okay, so if either one of the two values is a double, you'll get your decimal result back out. And again, Java is bad at math. Notice it puts a 5 there at the end. Pretty sure there's no 5 in that arithmetic. It has to round somewhere, but it didn't even round it correctly. So don't do banking with straight Java. There's better ways to do good arithmetic with Java. Okay, just FYI. So be aware, if you want decimals, one of the two operators needs to be a decimal. You might think we could say double result is first number divided, I don't know, let's do second number for fun here, right? You might think this would work. And say, hey, I want a double result. You think that's going to work? 42 divided by 27? 1.0. We get a double result, but what's stored in there is the integer value, 1. Then it turns into, so what happens here is order of operations. It's the right side first. So the right side happens first. It gets evaluated. Right side first, gets evaluated, then stored. So we get a result here, which is an integer result. Then we store it as a double. So now we get 1.0. So it has to be one of the operands. One of the things being divided has to be a double or a float to get you those decimal places. Okay? Now, order of operations is tricky. And I don't know why it's tricky. Sorry, let's check on my sugar here. That is not even showing me. Feeling funny. Come on, Dexcom. Ah, there we go. My sugar is high. That's unfortunate. Nope, signal loss. Okay, it's obnoxious. Like, you'd love when tech works, and sometimes it doesn't. It's just Bluetooth. Might need a reboot or Bluetooth off and on. Okay, so order of operations. You guys all remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? You guys remember that one? Order of operations. That one ring a bell? So you do parentheses, and then exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Right? So what do we get if we were to say, let's do 6 divided by 3 times 2. PEMDAS, yeah, PEMDAS. This is where I get into arguments with people, and I don't know why math class has failed people. It makes me very sad. What happens here with 6 divided by 3 times 2, according to our order of operations? What do we get back out? What do you guys think we get? This is like one of those things people share around on Facebook. You guys still use Facebook? I heard that's not as popular anymore. Is it Instagram now? Oh dear. Math class has failed you. I apologize. No. It's okay to be wrong. Yes, it is 4. Multiplication and division are the same level of precedence. Just because we say multiplication does not mean it happens first. There's literally a set of parentheses around here that say multiplication and division have the same precedence. So we go left to right. Just because we say multiplication first doesn't mean we do the multiplication before the division. No. Multiplication and division have the same level of precedence. So if you have more than one, we go left to right, or whichever direction looks right on my camera. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And the answer here is 4. Okay? Same with addition and subtraction. Just because we say addition first doesn't mean we do the addition first. So like 6 minus 3 plus 2. You wouldn't do 3 plus 2 is 5, 6 minus 5 is 1. You would do 6 minus 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. It works the exact same way with multiplication and division. Right? We go left to right. So left to right. And have the same level of precedence. I can't ever spell this word. Same level of precedence. Precedence? Precedence? I don't know. All your family's on Facebook, so you stay away from it. They post like these things that like people argue about math all the time. Math 1540. Which one is 1540? I have to go Google that now. Let's see, math 1540. Let's see if I can get a hit. 1540. Okay, I guess I have to go click the link. That's a weird... There it goes. 1540. There we go. College algebra. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is arithmetic. This isn't algebra. This is just plain arithmetic. Okay? So it's okay, right? Just remember, left to right. Once we start using variable names, this is algebra, because we're substituting in variable names, right? Like x. I don't know why they always use x in math class, but x. Ours is first number, because we can give good variable names. Okay? So it happens left to right. Now, there's an additional operator we're going to learn, which is super cool. It's the modulus operator. Modulus, or modulo, some people call it. I don't know why. So we're going to say, I want 10 modulus 3. And remember how integer division gets rid of the decimal place? Modulus is sort of the opposite. It's the remainder operator. It says, hey, do the division, give me the integer remainder. Turns the integer remainder. So think back to math class, right, when we did remainders. So we had like 10 divided by 3 equals, you guys don't know what that is yet, that's okay. 10 divided by 3, we'll do 10 divided by 3. Divided by 3, and then remainder. Let's add in, let's just do a print, and then I'll do a print line. We'll do a single equal sign. It's not proper, but it's okay. It gives you the remainder. So 10 divided by 3 is 3, remainder 1. Right? That's how we used to do math. When we learned long division with remainders, before we started learning what decimal places were, and getting better answers, we could do remainders. So modulus is the remainder. So this is super handy for certain cases and certain things we're going to do. Okay, that's the modulus. And this has the same level of precedence as multiplication and division. Because it is a division operation, it's just giving us the remainder. Same precedence as multiplication and division. Okay, so that's modulus. Modulus is really cool. We can do some good stuff with it. Now, you can always use parentheses. If you want order of operations, right, you use the parentheses. That's what they're for. Now, sometimes we do arithmetic. We might say my first number equals, we're going to assign it the value of first number plus 10. Like if I want to add 10 to first number and then save the value, you have to write it this way. Because the thing that happens first is whatever's on the right, then it gets assigned to whatever's on the left. So this is adding 10 to first number. Right? Now it turns out programmers are lazy people. I mean, we're efficient people. We don't like to do more things than we need to. And if I already wrote first number once, it's kind of irritating to have to write it the second time. So first number equals first number plus 10. So we have a combined assignment operator. We can say first number plus equals 10. We'll say, okay, add 10 and then assign it. It's a funny thing. And you can do that with any of your arithmetic. You can plus equals, you can minus equals, you can times equals, you can divide equals, you can modulus equals if you want. Right? Just do be careful that you don't do equals plus 10. Because this is legal. What we've done here now is we've said, hey, first number is positive 10. Right? Positive 10 gets assigned to first number. So be careful with your assignment operator. So this is bad. This is assigning positive 10 to first number. This adds 10 to first number. Right? Because if we don't assign, we could just say first number plus 10. That's a Java statement. It doesn't do anything, though, because we're not doing anything with that result. So it even tells us, hey, that's not a statement, because we didn't do something with that value. We didn't assign it anywhere. We didn't print it anywhere. Right? It's no good. We could just print number plus 10 if we wanted, and that's not going to change first number. It will add 10 to first number and print that number, but it's not going to change the value of first number. So this adds 10 to first number for printing, but doesn't change first number. Okay, so we can do arithmetic, and it doesn't change the value. Unless we use the assignment operator, we're not changing the value. Right? It's just like in math class, if we said, like, hey, x plus 3 equals something, it's not adding 3 to x. We're not changing x. It's just saying, hey, whatever x is, add 3 before you do something with it. Okay? One other cool thing we can do we sometimes have values that we don't want to change. So we want to set the value once and then use a nice name for it other places. So maybe in here we had a tax rate. I'll call it sales tax. Tax rate. And this is an int equals 0.06. Oops, I'm sorry, that should be a double. Sales tax rate. So if I don't ever want this thing to change, because I don't want to accidentally do like sales tax rate, equals something else, that'd be no good, because then it's really going to screw up my program. We can use another keyword, right? Keywords are these reserved, these orange words here. We can say, hey, this is a final value. And what final means is that you can set it one time and you can't change it again. It protects you from shooting yourself in the foot by changing the value. So if it shouldn't change, we call it final. And then what we do is, instead of doing sales tax rate like we would do for a normal variable name, if it's a final value, we do this all uppercase with underscores. It's just a convention. It doesn't have to happen that way. It's just what we do. That's how we will typically identify these sorts of things. That's our convention. So this comes in handy. We'll do this later on, not even for the first project, but keep this in your back pocket. This is super helpful later on after you do some other projects, to have, hey, here's a value and I don't want it to change in the rest of my code, but now I have a nice name for it. And the idea here is that you don't want to put 0.06 in your code places for lots of various reasons. First of all, the more often you type a value, the more likely you are to screw it up. So if I were to calculate the sales tax of a bunch of different items, and I would do a bunch of different arithmetic, and every time I'd have to add, or times 0.06, times 0.06, times 0.06, and I did this like 15 times in my program, there's a chance I screw that up and don't type 0.06 correctly. Maybe I add an extra 0, maybe it's a 7, maybe it's whatever, right? It's easy to screw things up. So it helps prevent errors there. And then it gives you a nice name instead. So every time I see it, I'm not like, why did I have 0.06? I see, oh, it's the sales tax rate. Right? Names are great. We love giving names to things. So the typical rule of thumb is that in your code, you don't want to have numbers, like inside of operations here. Like, sure, assign it a value to give it a name. That's good. But you don't want to just stick some numbers in here and say, hey, this plus 10. Why did we have a 10? Right? Maybe we should give a name to this 10 value. And then we're just doing some illustrations here, but we could give a name to that value. We call those magic numbers. If we just have a number in there with no name, it's just magic, because we don't know what it's for or why we have a 10. And maybe you remember the first time, but maybe the second time or the third time when you come back to it a few days later, you have no idea. Yeah, we're going to talk about Project 1 right after the break. Yep. And it'll just be on Java fundamentals, a basic Java program here. Just doing some stuff. So I got to talk about scanner as well. We'll get there. You guys are doing great. Oh man, there we go. Yep, we'll get to scanner. It's coming up. So final is awesome. We like final. Okay. All right. I'm about out of coffee. We've gone almost an hour. You guys want to take a break now? And then we'll come back and pick it up. And we'll talk about a couple other topics. And then we'll get to project number 1. And we should be able to call it a day. Don't forget, we do have study group today at noon as well. And I'll open up the quiz for Chapter 2 on Wednesday after we finish talking about Chapter 2 stuff. So if you're attending study group this week, you can get a bonus point on the Chapter 2 quiz. I've got to make sure I get that list from our awesome SI to see who came to study group for the Chapter 1 quiz to get your bonus points. So if I ever miss it, please let me know. It was not intentional. It's just there's not an automatic way, so it's all manual tracking on my part. And the more manual stuff that you have to do, the more likely you are to screw it up, right? All right, so why don't we take a break now so that no one's complaining, and then we'll come back, say, what time here? 11:07? Is that weird to have some weird times like that? I think you guys can figure it out. Like, that's 10 minutes. Okay? Yes, so you'll be able to get 11 out of 10 on the quizzes. Yep, exactly. We put some more music back on for you guys from our awesome DMCA free, royalty free music. All he asked for was that I put his website in the title here. It's fantastic. Hey, we'll come back in a little bit, guys. Alrighty, think we're back. How you guys doing? Ready to keep going? Awesome. I think it's still pretty stable. Good. That's much better than last week. I don't want to jinx anything. Someone had asked about the projects. Yes, the numbered projects are all individuals. So just you working on it. Again, you're allowed to talk to each other, but if you're like having to take notes, you're probably working too closely together with each other. So like talk about ideas, approaches, that sort of thing. That's all good, but don't take notes of what they're working on. So if you have questions about your code, don't post the code in Discord. But if you have just questions about the project in general, post in there. That's great because then everyone gets to see your question and the answer, and everyone gets to benefit. All right, so we got a couple more topics, just a couple last things, and then we'll talk about the project. So we had done. No, we haven't actually used them yet. So this one we did one time. We said a string here, a string value. So that's a capital S string. This is actually a class. It doesn't mean a whole lot to you now. That's okay, but that's its way of storing a bunch of characters. A string of characters is how I kind of remember that. Okay, so that we have string values. Strings are stored by reference instead of by value. Don't worry too much about that. It's not too big of a deal. We can use strings. Yep. So one thing to know about strings is they are what you'll call immutable. You can't change them. So I have a string for, I don't know, my sentence equals Happy Monday. Why not? That's my sentence. Oops, and a semicolon. So sentence is good, but if I wanted to change sentence, right, if I want to assign it a different value, if I wanted to say like, hey, sentence plus, don't forget to start project 1, we could do that. You can concatenate strings, right? It smushes them together. Notice I left the space there, and I'll print out the sentence. So in this case, I'm not going to put anything in quotes because I have a string value. I'm going to put the variable name here, sentence. Right. When I run that, that should give us a message. Happy Monday, don't forget to start project 1. Now, because strings are immutable and they don't change, what actually happens here is this is a new string that gets created. So this one technically is not modified. It's used in a new string, and then we store that new string here in sentence. So don't worry too much about it, but just kind of keep that in your back pocket. So strings can't actually change. You make new ones in memory. So it makes a new string in memory for what it's worth. Don't worry too much about that. We'll get to it later. Scope we'll come to later as well. The Javadoc stuff, I trust you guys can learn Javadoc. Don't worry about that. Indentation, just use format. So Shift Alt F will auto format your program for you, which is perfect. You don't need to worry about doing manual formatting because it'll format it for you. The idea is like you don't want to have stuff at weird tab indentations. Like everything is tabbed in to hang one tab ahead of where the last curly brace is. That's why everything has 2 tabs here. So the first curly brace starts you at the top. Again, we'll get to this more later, why we have to use these places. The second curly brace here belongs to main. Everything has to be inside of main if you want it to run, for now. So everything is 2 tabs in because it's 2 curly braces in. So visually, you can see this all belongs to main here. Right? And you can use the auto format, Alt Shift F at the same time, and it will format for you. It's fantastic. All right, now this scanner thing. Whew, we finally got there. Okay, let me go back. Let me take out that line so you can see the magic that happens here. Now, Mr. Gaddis, and I'm fond of it too, because why not? That's what he does. He likes calling the scanner object keyboard. Remember the type here, like a string is sentence, or a double result, or an int first number, second number, third number. So scanner is the type. So scanner is something built into the Java library that we can take advantage of and use, which is awesome. I'm going to call it keyboard because that's what Mr. Gaddis does. It could be called A. Right? Java doesn't care what we call it. So call it something so you know what it is. This is the keyboard input, so we can get some keyboard input here. Equals a new scanner. There's a new keyword here. We'll get to that later. We have to use it in certain cases. Anything that's a reference type, essentially, we use it, except for strings, because strings are special. We'll get to that more later. And then you say equals a new scanner, and then you say system.in. This is the standard in. Notice we've been using system.out for printing out, for outputting. We use system.in for inputting. Hopefully that all makes sense. And then what we get is a nice big fat red line. And it says, oh, cannot find symbol. That's the fancy word or way of Java telling us it doesn't know what it is. And it gives us some hints here. The hints are fantastic because we don't have to do anything manually. So I'm going to say add import for java.util.scanner. And what it does is it types out this line for me. You can put this line in yourself. You can handwrite it. Sometimes you have to if you don't have a nice tool like Netbeans. But I like when the tool does the work for me. So it's import java.util.scanner. And notice that goes at the very top above public class chapter 2 part 1. So it goes to the very top before any of this other stuff. This is where we'll import or tell Java, hey, I want to use some pieces from your library. I want to use some of this built-in stuff that Java knows how to do. Okay? Great. So it goes up at the top, and then that red line goes away. Now we can go do something with it. And some of the cool things we can do with it, I'm going to ignore the dialog box stuff for now. Don't worry about it, and we're moving away from swing anyway. I mean, it's not that it's wrong at all, but we're not going to use them much. So don't worry about the J option pane thing. Excuse me. We're just going to do the scanner. Oh my goodness. Why did, okay, so he mentioned scanner and then he stops because he used J option pane. That's not helpful. Oh, okay, he's got a code example, sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to use keyboard to get some values. So I'm going to print, hey, enter your name. Okay, and then, so I've outputted something. I've gave an instruction to the user, and then I'm going to go do something. So I'm going to have a string for name, or user, I don't know, username equals. I'm going to assign it a value of keyboard dot. So keyboard dot is the trick here. So keyboard is what I've called my scanner. When I say keyboard dot, I get access to all the things that it knows how to do. It has a bunch of things you can do. Most of this we're not going to touch. I want next line. So what that does is it gets me the line, everything that was entered, up until they hit the enter key at the console. And then I can, S out, say, hi there, username. Oops, sorry, that should be in the quotes here because it's a string. Hi there, plus username. So now this variable is anything that they type in, I'm going to store as username. I'm hoping they put their name in. Usually users will do the right thing, but that's not always the case. But for now, we're going to assume users will do the right thing. So now we can have a conversation with the computer. So it says enter your name. Not that I know of. Autocomplete for Eclipse. I'm sure you could Google some sort of autocomplete for Eclipse. I just know the Netbeans shortcuts. Sorry. So it's waiting now. So my program's still running. It's not done yet. So down here it says enter your name. I have to type in my name, Eric Charneski. And then I hit enter, and enter is what triggers this next line to go and give that value back. So whatever value we typed in, it now gives back, and we're storing as username. Then we can do something with that value. In our case, we just printed. Hi there, Eric Charneski. Cool. Does that work out? So now let's do something with numbers, because, I mean, text is only so interesting. So if we wanted to do something with numbers, it's a little trickier, because what happens is next line only knows how to give you back a string. Because what they typed in is a bunch of characters, and we're giving it back as a string type. So if I want to do something with numbers, we have to do something else. So I'm going to have an int for the magic number equals, say, 42. And then I'm going to print out, we'll do username plus guess a number 1 to 100. Okay? And then I need an int for guess. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because I can't just say keyboard.nextLine. Next line. Notice there's a bunch of other next. I'm going to recommend you don't use them, because it causes other problems down the road. And Mr. Gaddis gets into that in the textbook. But I can't say next line because this is an integer. So what I have to do is I use another bit of code in Java, and Java knows how to take text and turn it into numbers. So it's capital I integer dot parse int. And I put this all in one line here. So I say, hey, integer.parseInt, try and parse this thing, try and translate it into an integer, and I give it keyboard next line. This tries to turn the string from next line into a number, an integer. Okay, so all in one line, keyboard.nextLine gets handed to parseInt here. So this is converting it to an integer. Okay? Now I have a guess. Now I can do this cool thing. We haven't even gotten there yet. Shoot, that's all right. So we'll just print out the number was plus magic number plus you guessed plus guess. That's kind of boring, isn't it? But that's okay. Let's see if it works. We're supposed to do some arithmetic, aren't we? I forgot. So enter your name, Eric, guess a number, 1. Number was 42, you guessed 1. Sure, that's fine. Oh, you know what? Guessing is, yeah, okay, let's do something better than guessing. Let's do a magic trick. Do you guys like magic tricks? Right? So I'm going to, let's say, enter a 2-digit number. Right? It's a 2-digit number? I think it's a 2-digit number. And then we can get some 2-digit number is, again, I'm just going to copy paste this line because I don't like to, have to do more work. So just copy paste. This will turn the keyboard input into an integer. Now I have a 2-digit number. Okay. There's a thing here. What is it? I think it's a thing. Hang on, I'm looking it up here. It's one of those silly math things you can do. What is it? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Sorry, I want a 1-digit number. A 1-digit number. Okay, there we go. A 1-digit number. So I have a 1-digit number. So then we'll say your number times 9 is, and I'm just going to do the arithmetic right in here. My 1-digit number times 9. Okay. Actually, that's not the right number. So enter a number we want between 2 and 10. There we go. From 2 to 10. This is my magic number. Oh, I already have magic number. That's all right. We'll just call it magic number. Here we go. So your number times 9 is some value. Okay? So then we can actually store it. So this is the magic number times equals, right? That's we're saying multiply by it and then assign the value of that number times 9. We'll do that first. And I can just say magic number. Okay? And then what I can do is I can take the digits. So now getting the digits sounds like it's tricky, but it's not so bad. So now I have an int for first digit is my magic number. And what I want to do is I want to divide by 10 with integer division. So if your number is 27, 27 divided by 10 with integer division gives me 2. Right? And then I have an int for second digit is my magic number, modulus 10. Right? So divide out all the 10s, give me the remainder. Okay, and then we can print out. So the tens place is my first digit plus first digit. And we'll print out the ones place. And then we'll add in the second digit. Okay. And if we print that out again, the sum of the tens place and the ones place is, and let's add them together. First digit plus second digit. And I want to do that in order of operations. Or you know what? Here, let's forget that. Let's change it. Let's say magic number equals, let's assign a new value of first digit plus second digit. Let's change the value here. Is the magic number. What am I forgetting here? Oh, the plus. It gives you red lines if it doesn't like it. This one's saying not a statement. Not the most helpful error in the world. It says it expects a semicolon. Well, really what I forgot was the plus here to say, hey, smush that onto the string. Smush it on there. Now let's run this file. All right, so someone give me a number between 2 and 10 inclusive. Yeah, number 2 to 10. 7. All right, so 7. So 7 times 9 is 63. 6 in the tens place, 3 in the ones place. Sum of the tens place and the ones place is 9. Look at that. Magic, right? We got out our 9 again. We multiply by 9 and they added up to 9. Is that fun? We didn't get the original back out, but that's okay. Okay, so we can do some arithmetic. So if you want numbers from scanner, I recommend going this way. Don't use the other next bit values. Just always get next line and then parse it. You could also do double dot parse double if you want to convert a string into a double, or convert to a double. Double dot parse double, given that next line. Right, depends on what value you want here. Okay? You guys with me so far? Now this is new, and this is working with input from the user to get some input. Okay? You guys all right so far? Okay. Let's talk about project 1. Let me pull back this. Close some tabs. I don't need all these tabs open. All right, here we go. D2L. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do assignment. This is project 1. Project 1. So this will be due in 2 weeks. So today's the 25th, so we'll say the 8th at 10 a.m. So at 10 a.m. on the 8th, I'm going to go over a solution to the project. So I can't take these late, okay? So please, project 0 we could be a little flexible on, but this I can't take late. So choose from grades, and I want to make a new grade here. Project 1, awesome. This will be worth 5 points. Oh man. All right. Sometimes it gets funny and I can't type in that box. I don't know why. And I have to reopen it. It's annoying. Edit. Here we go. All right. So we are helping our contractor friend figure out how much lumber to buy to build a wooden fence. Okay, now our wooden fence the last line of code in Netbeans. Sure. This system.print line. We just said, let's add the magic number. You know what? I can commit all that to GitHub too. I can remember to do that. Let me put it out there on GitHub. 1500, enter. There we go. So this is updated Monday examples, chapter 2 complete. Okay, commit and push. Remember, you guys can always go check out the code on my GitHub repository. The link should be in D2L. Should be there. Okay. No, as long as you attend one of the sessions, you can get the bonus point. Dusty nuts. Yep, as long as you attend at least one session for the week, you can get the bonus points for the quiz. All right. So anyway, we're helping our contractor friend figure out how much lumber to buy for wooden fence. We need to ask the user, which we're assuming he'll run the program. Again, for us, we're just going to be running it now. Ask the user how far apart the posts are. So like if you're building a fence, you put a post in, you put another post in, and then you run the boards between the posts. So we're not doing anything about the posts, but we want to know how far apart the posts are. Excuse me. So if the posts are 4 feet apart, we need a 4-foot board. Okay? Then ask the user what the length and width of the fence are. Assume it's a complete rectangle. So he's just building a rectangle out in the middle of a field somewhere. I don't know why, but sure. So he's going to build a rectangle fence out in the middle of a field. So we have a length and we have a width, right? So we can figure out what the total distance is here. We can do some arithmetic. And then ask the user what length boards they will purchase. So you can get 2x4s in like 6-foot length, in 8-foot length, in 10-foot length. I don't know. They have all sorts of options when you go to the hardware store. So maybe you buy 8-foot 2x4s. Maybe you buy 10-foot 2x4s. We're going to ask them whatever size boards they're going to purchase. Okay? We need to calculate the number of boards required to complete the fence. Right? So if he tells you, hey, we have posts that are 3 feet apart, and we buy an 8-foot board, how many 3-foot sections can we get out of that 8-foot board? Well, we've got to do that arithmetic. And remember, if you've got some remainder, if it's not long enough, it's not usable. Okay, so the remainders get thrown away. Okay, we need to find out how many boards are required to complete the fence that is all the way around the length and the width, right, around the perimeter, the fence. To calculate the perimeter of the fence. Okay? So we add a rubric here, so you know how you get your scores. So typically, these points are always assigned by feature. So you'll get points for doing this part, points for doing this part, points for doing this part. So if you can't get all of it done, please ask. Like, don't turn in incomplete work. You know, you've got opportunities to ask for help. But sure, if it comes down to it, it's always better to get something in than nothing in. This is my project 1 rubric. 1 rubric. And again, they give all these like scales here, and that's fine. We don't need any of that. So either you did it, it's complete, or it's missing. You get 1 point if it's there. Hey, Uncle Bill, thanks for dropping by. Or 0 points if it's missing. So, excuse me. What we're going to do is we're going to ask the user for their name. Use the name in all further prompts. So first thing we should do is ask them what their name is, who's using my program. That way we can talk to them by name. People love it when you talk to them by name. It just makes them feel better and not like the computer's some cold, heartless thing here. Okay? Then ask the user for the distance between posts. Ask the user for the length and the width. Ask the user for the size board to be purchased. And we're going to assume that they're going to purchase a board that's bigger than the length. So if they tell you they have a 10-foot distance between posts, and they tell you they're going to buy an 8-foot board, it'll just, bad stuff will happen. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Because that just won't happen. So we're going to assume they'll give you decent values here. And then we're going to calculate the total number of boards required to complete the fence. Okay, there's 1 point each. You get a bunch of points just for asking the user and storing those values. And store the value in a variable. Just to be clear, like ask them and store it. Ask them and store it. Okay? You know what? Let's do this. Let's change this length, width. Yeah, I want to get rid of that one. Width and size board to be purchased. And store the values in variables. Okay. And I'll delete that one. Okay, and then let me change this. These are custom points here. So you get 2 points for doing this one right. Calculating the total number of boards. Okay, the other ones are just asking the user. So if you don't do any arithmetic, you can still get 3 out of 5 points. But you've got to get the arithmetic and do it properly here to get the 2 points there. That makes sense? And then this overall score thing is just silly. I don't know. I don't even know what these mean. Overall score, sure. Sometimes I leave it alone, but that's okay. All right, so ask for their name and use their name in all further prompts. Okay, how far apart the posts are, length and width, what length boards they'll purchase, and we'll figure out how many boards they need to complete the fence for those 5 points. How's that feel? Let me save that in there, make sure we've got it. Questions about project 1? And just getting started, we're just getting some variables, trying to do some arithmetic. You okay so far? Cool. Cool, cool. Math is dumb. Oh, those are fighting words there, Fallen. Math is awesome. We love math. You know what? I want to have some fun. Let's see. So for a bonus point, just one bonus point, calculate the amount of board wasted. Okay, so if you want a bonus point, so you can get 6 out of 5 total on this, if you want, tell me at the end how much board was wasted. So again, if I say, hey, I want posts every 3 feet, and I buy an 8-foot board, right? I can get 2 3-foot sections out of that, and I have a 2-foot section that gets wasted. So tell me the total amount of waste for a bonus point. Okay? This is just for fun, for a bonus point. I think you guys can figure this one out, and that way we're using another operator. But I'll give you a bonus point for it. Okay? I guess can I put that in the rubric? I think I can put that in the rubric, right? Let's see. I think that's doable. Let me go back to the rubric tool here. Excuse me. All right, any other questions, concerns? Edit this one. Excuse me. Oof. Man, that coffee, it's getting me. So bonus. Calculate the total amount of wasted board and print the result at the end. So, sure, calculate the total number of boards, print the result. So you should tell the user what it is, right? So like, hey, this is how many boards you need to buy. We should print that out. Sorry if that wasn't clear. Okay, so we'll get an extra point there. Just 1 extra point for that one. I think that auto saves. If I did it right, it should work. Let's see. Sometimes I have to fiddle with it. D2L's pretty flexible. Edit. Yeah, out of 5 points. Okay, good. Good. And our rubric is out of 6. So, yep, you can get 6 out of 5 if you want. 1 extra bonus point there. And just for anybody who's following along, remember the weights for your grades are by category. So the individual projects make up half of your overall grade. Right, 50% of your overall grade is from these individual projects. So the points for projects only matter within the projects category. Oh, wow. It's really screwed up. That's interesting. Their preview tool is broken, or maybe it's me. Maybe my computer's broken. That's unfortunate. Good thing we have the download option. If it doesn't work for you and you are having trouble opening it, let me know. I can get you a PDF. So yeah, projects are 50% of your overall score. And what's going to happen throughout the semester, I'm going to bring on a robot thing, is the score for the projects, or the points for the projects, are going to go up. So each project will be worth more points than the last one here in assignments, because you're never going to forget the things we've already talked about. We're only going to build on those topics. So as we learn more things, we're going to do more things in our projects. So the projects get not necessarily harder. Yeah, they get harder. That's probably fair to say. So each project will be worth more points. So this was 2 points, this one's 5 points, the next one will probably be 10 points, and then 15, and then 20. Is typically how that goes. Okay? All right, any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are doing well. And don't forget, we do have study group noon today. Go check it out. And I'll work on getting all those other things in that you guys turn in graded. We should be in good shape. Excuse me. All right, and I've got office hours, although someone had scheduled an appointment already, so again, it's first come, first serve for the office hours. Usually it's drop in, but you're welcome to book appointments with me, and I'll make sure I reserve that time. So shoot me questions if you have them. We'll meet back up Thursday, and we'll just do another recap of this material. I don't think we're going to take the whole time on Thursday, so we can have a little bit of that class time. You guys can get working on this project, and I can answer questions or whatever, float around on Discord. Make sure you guys get up and running here. Okay, we all right so far? No other questions. Let me do one poll here, just to see how everyone's feeling. So this is project 1. Feel lost. Okay. Try it first, or I've done already. All right, so a quick little poll there in Twitch chat. They're up at the top of chat. Just ask you a little bit how you're feeling about project 1. And we should be in good shape. We'll call it a day. And just see how you guys feel before we take off here. Awesome. Make sure you go get your coffee. Don't forget, stay hydrated. Oh, I forgot to tell you a joke today. Let me do that real quick while I wait for that poll here. I got a good one here. I just found it. Oh, yep. So I know with all these store lockdowns and closings and things, people were really excited to get back to shopping because we're all shopaholics. But apparently, the Lego store that's out at Great Lakes Crossing Outlets, the Lego store out there, I think that's where the Lego store is. It was huge. There was like this crazy crowd just wanted to get out and get Legos in person, apparently. I don't really know why, but someone told me people were lined up for blocks. All right. Let's see. I'm okay. I just need to try it. Cool. Done already. One person. Awesome. So we should be in good shape. If you have any other questions, reach out. Let me know. If not, you guys take care. I'll go ahead and end the stream. Take care.